This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Today on Rescue 911. Real stories, real heroes. A quick response unit airlifts a little girl to safety.
I knew that they were the people who could help where I really couldn't.
Watch a real-life ER trauma team struggle to save her life.
Appropriate is 137.
Plus, when a bungling burglar gives Santa a run for his money,
Why is he in your chimney, you know?
he winds up stuck between a rock and a fireplace.
We did get some very good pictures.
On Rescue 911.
Rescue workers live in a world of extreme highs and lows. They begin each day not knowing whether it'll bring the joy of saving a life or the emptiness of losing one. This story is not a recreation. It's a look at the caring medical professionals in Idaho Falls, Idaho.
September 3rd, 1993, 7:05 p.m. A call comes in reporting a 6-year-old hit by a car while riding her bike. The accident occurred in front of the home of Vicki Evans, who happens to be a paramedic.
I heard the thud and saw the little girl flying away from the car onto the cement. The police measured it and told me that she had flown 39 feet. She was not conscious, and I kept her on her side so that the vomitus would go out of her mouth and not get down into her airway. By this time, the quick response unit from Shelley had arrived, and I said, I'm a paramedic with the Idaho Falls Fire Department, and I want oxygen, and I want a backboard, and I want your suction now. She was never conscious. I got there, and she's never been conscious. After we got her in the ambulance, her mother arrived, and I could see her looking for any sign of hope that she was okay.
The little girl's mother, Brenda Price, was at home a block away when she heard the sirens.
Nobody was making any promises that she was going to be okay. I didn't want to get in their way because I knew that they were the people who could help where I really couldn't.
We're going to put her on board the ship, and we're going to fly her to the hospital. Have you got someone to take you to the hospital? Yes. Why don't you go ahead and start there now?
6-year-old Jenna is taken to the Air Idaho rescue helicopter under the care of flight nurse Margaret McGill.
My secondary assessment, her abdomen was firmer than the first time I examined it. She probably was bleeding inside. We got to get her to a hospital that can operate on her now.
When we continue.
With children, a lot of times they'll hold steady, and then all of a sudden the bottom will drop out. And she just looked like one of those people where that was going to happen soon. Among those treating the little girl during the flight is medic Doran Howard.
She was slowing down a lot, and we needed to get as much oxygen on board as we could. Then her abdomen distended, and then we knew she was starting to go into shock.
At Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center, emergency physician Jeff Stiglitz takes over her care.
It was clear that she had a more serious injury than just a head injury, and we became concerned that she was in shock, which is a situation where not enough blood flow was going to the various parts of the body. She was very pale, and her pulse was very rapid, and her blood pressure was low.
Okay, let's go ahead and get x-ray and start getting that. Chest x-ray in the pelvis, is that what you're going to do? Yes, she's fine, chest.
Nurse Ruth Ann Reichert, director of Air Idaho Rescue, is also a member of the trauma team.
With children, a lot of times they'll hold steady, and then all of a sudden the bottom will drop out. And she just looked like one of those people where that was going to happen soon.
Somebody standing on this.
I need that much more.
Okay. Okay, you ready with the tubing?
I like to involve the parents as much as I can, no matter how bad it is.
Mama loves you.
So she has the cortical posturing issue.
And Uncle Gary, and we all love you, and these people can take care of you.
Even though she was unconscious, she could hear, because when they asked her, you know, if she wanted to see her mother, she opened her eyes.
It's going to hurt a little bit, but you're going to be okay.
She is in hemorrhagic shock. There's no time to do a CAT scan of her head at this time. We're going to have to take her up to the operating room. Dr. Richards is going to open her abdomen and stop that bleeding.
Surgeon Jim Richards is in charge of Jenna's team of doctors.
She had a ruptured spleen and a moderate amount of blood in the abdominal cavity. The spleen was removed and the bleeding controlled from that injury. But in addition, she had a very, very large area of hemorrhage around the left kidney.
It's really quite extensive, extending all the way up and down the patient's entire left side, and it does cross the midline and go into the pelvis. And the debate is whether we should open this or not. I'm inclined not to open it because if we can stabilize her and make sure it's not continuing to bleed, we'd have a chance to do more diagnostic assessment.
Which means she'll have to come out of the operating room, go down to the CAT scan. Okay. They'll look at her brain at that time. Typically with something like this where she had such a rapid loss of consciousness, it would just be a blood clot in the brain area, and sometimes they can evacuate that. And sometimes it's just a big blow to the head and there's nothing they can do surgically.
Try to keep her head still, okay?
So far, each picture is looking basically normal. Third ventricle is right square in the midline, so that means there's no swelling on either side, which is good. I'm really pretty optimistic about a good recovery of consciousness in terms of the brain injury. Hi, well, we've got some good news for you. We just completed the scans on the head and the neck, and they're okay. So that means there's no bleeding in the head. We're not going to have to do any brain surgery. She still may need some more surgery.
It didn't matter what physical condition, I would take my baby alive. I just felt a lot of peace there.
Things are getting better, and so far so good is the best way to look at it.
At that point, they CAT scanned the abdomen as well, which showed them that the kidney was in even worse shape than the spleen. So they didn't even try to repair it. They just took it out.
How you doing, honey? You be okay? She's waking up, and I think that's encouraging, and I really feel that we've covered a lot of territory since last evening. We just need to anticipate that over the next day or so we can probably get her off the ventilator and let her tell us what she thinks about all this. I suspect we'll both get Scotch blessings.
The day after the accident, neighbor Vicki Evans stops by to see Jenna.
Not as much as it does to you guys, but
there's just no way to say thank you for saving a child, you know?
I know, but I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I was there. If it made a difference, I'm glad I was there.
So am I.
How's she doing today?
She's doing pretty good.
Is she
She's
doing
getting better
okay?
every day.
Does she recognize everybody good and everything?
Jenna, this is a friend. This is Vicki.
Hi, Jenna. How are you doing today? You doing okay? Well, this is a heck of a place to be, isn't it, Jenna? This isn't fun at all, is it?
This is Vicki. She lives in the greenhouse on the corner. She was there when Jenna got into the accident.
I was very gratified that I had been trained to the point that I was able to react appropriately for the situation without even thinking about it, because when it happened, I was scared to death. And I'm going to go and let you rest now. It's good to see you. I hope you do really well, okay?
I really feel like God was really looking out for Jenna to have Vicki there, because she could get things going. She was the first one there, and she could just look out for my baby girl.
If you need anything, you let us know, okay?
Anybody who's willing to give that and put themselves under that kind of stress to save other people's lives, they're just special kind of people.
Though the problem was not visible during the CAT scan, Jenna K. Price suffered a traumatic brain injury. Her recovery has been slow.
Jenna has had to go through some intensive physical therapy to rehabilitate her to where she can use her arms and her legs again like she did before. She's always been very spunky, and it's good to see her want to get out there and get moving and do what everybody else is able to do. Okay, honey. I think that spirit of hers really keeps her going.
I like to make snowmen and throw snowballs at my mom and my sister.
Hey, how come you're ganging up on Mom? Ah. As a single parent, I've told my girls that no matter what comes along, It doesn't matter because we can get through it as long as we hold together.
When Jen was in the hospital, I held her hand, and I remember reading her books. I'm going to remind Jen to always look both ways and to go kind of slow and wear a bike helmet.
We had an amazing amount of support from our community. In December, I wrote a letter telling them thank you and suggesting to them that buying a bike helmet for their child for Christmas would be a truly loving gift.
If I had the accident after Christmas, I would have been wearing my bike helmet. It's important to wear a bike helmet so you don't crack your head open.
You ready to go in? And warm up and dry off? I am just so grateful that Jen is getting better. She brings a lot of joy to people.
It's still snowing.
I think that God was saving her for a special reason.
Next.
I said, honey, somebody's at the door. There must be a problem. I ran to the front door. By the time I got to the door, then I realized the voice was in the house.
There are certain images everyone associates with Christmas. Decorated Christmas trees, flying reindeer pulling a sleigh, Santa climbing down the chimney delivering gifts. But on the night of January 4th, 1993, at their home in Oceanside, California, Margie Beavers and her husband Lawrence found out that not everyone embraces the symbols of Christmas in the same way.
I went to bed about 11:30 after the news went off, and kept squirming and wiggling around, so I thought, well, I'll get up and take some aspirins. That will probably relax me. I just started to doze off, and I heard this banging, and then I reached over and shook my husband. I said, honey, somebody's at the door. There must be a problem. Somebody's in trouble. Get up quick.
We're coming.
I ran to the front door thinking that that was somebody banging on my door. And then by the time I got to the door, I didn't even get the door open. Then I realized the voice was not outside. The voice was in the house.
911 emergency? Yes, I have somebody that's just come down my chimney. They're hanging upside down inside our house. 414 South.
Oceanside Police Dispatcher Laura Harris took the call.
I was trying to picture this in my mind, and it wasn't really coming. It was kind of like, well, what's he doing there? Why is he in your chimney, you know?
You know who this person is? I have no idea. It just scared us to death, woke us up. Are they stuck? She's stuck in there, thank God.
Most of the time when someone calls up and says, there's a man in my house, you know, he broke into my house, we have to run out and chase him all over the neighborhood. Well, this guy was there for the pickings.
What are you doing in my fireplace? I said, what are you doing in my fireplace? And he says, I'm Santa Claus. What do you think? And so I said, well, I don't think so. I don't see any presents, and I know I've been good.
Lieutenant Reggie Grigsby was the watch commander that night.
She handed me this call, and I took a look at it. You'll have to excuse me. But it was a real struggle to remain a professional and get that call out.
Less than a mile from the scene, police officer Catherine Held was on patrol.
When I first heard the call, I was like, right, probably an animal. Tonight, this just didn't sound right.
The police are coming. His arms was just flying everywhere, and he was talking nonstop. He never shut up talking.
No way. Are you armed?
No, I'm not armed.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure of anything. My legs are broken.
Honey,
That's
I'm
what
gonna
I'm
go see if
sure.
they're coming yet.
I said, I'm going to go stand on the porch to make sure the police know which house to come to, because I was so frightened. I wanted them to hurry up and get in here and get this guy out of here.
As I arrived, there was the reporting party, Ms. Beavers, out on the front porch waving and screaming, help, help, he's in the chimney, he's in the chimney.
Come, officer, hurry.
As I get into the house, I look around at this chimney, and there's this guy hanging upside down, yelling and screaming. And I'm thinking, where's candid camera? I know there's a camera somewhere around here. Hold on, I'll get somebody.
Officer Held called the fire department in to extricate the prowler as police officer Brad Hunter arrived on the scene.
As soon as I walked inside the house, I just turned and looked at everybody else and started laughing.
Are you all right?
No, I'm not all right. I'm stuck in a fireplace.
During the questioning, I asked him what he was going to do once he got into the house, and he quickly looked at me and responded, I was just going to steal the piano.
The Oceanside Fire Department responded to the call.
Get me out of here.
Hey, listen, we
don't walk away from me.
This guy's obviously a little bit off the wall. I wasn't going to crawl into the chimney and try to lift him out.
When Fire Captain Jim Myers arrived, he took charge of the extrication.
Hey, guys, I'm stuck in here. Man.
I was kind of dumbfounded. I wasn't too sure what to do with him.
Just get me out of here. I'm stuck.
Terry, go ahead and get Dave and go ahead.
I had a crew come in and ladder the roof, take a look in the chimney to see what our options were from the top. Didn't appear to be any easy way to get him out of there. I decided to call for the rescue truck.
Don't hurt me, will you?
The Beavers, they were scared and concerned that this man had entered their house while they were sleeping.
What's your name?
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. Come on, knock it off. Come on, guys.
I think when they saw that the officers and the fire department had kind of a sense of humor, they also began to lighten up and joke around about it, to the point where Mrs. Beaver went and got her camera so she could take pictures to send to her grandchildren, to her relatives.
Smile. Smile.
Oh, what is this?
Pearlies.
He was not very happy about this. The burglar wasn't. He kept saying, yeah, make a joke out of my being in misery here hanging in this fireplace. Make a joke out of it. But we did get some very good pictures.
Bring it away.
When rescue arrived, they determined that the only solution was to break the chimney apart.
So we had a guy on either side, and they had some chisels and some sledgehammers, and they started chipping away at the blocks and pulling them out hand by hand and waiting for him to come on out.
Make some noise, all right? Ow! That did it.
One more.
Ow!
I kept thinking he needs a drink of water, but I couldn't figure out how to get water to him with him upside down. And he talked so much till I know he must have been thirsty.
Hey, guys, you know, I've heard of incompetence in my life.
All the time it was going on, he kept hollering, hurry up, I'm hurting, and you guys are slow, you guys are incompetent, and you guys don't know what you're doing. And it got to be a little bit of a pain in the neck. We're working on him. He didn't like the speed with which we're working.
Hold on.
Ow!
I got it.
You know, you guys are the worst.
Thank you.
You think you could get me out of here by
Can you
now?
be quiet for a second?
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
quiet. Yeah.
For 48 years I've been hearing about Santa Claus coming down a chimney, and you've never heard about really someone going down a chimney. It's just incredible that someone would have the nerve to try to do something like that.
Okay, hold on. Let's put pressure on. Okay, I got it.
When they finally got the last brick that was holding him in place, just one brick was holding him there, he finally just slipped on right on out of the fireplace. There was not much to it at all. It's kind of like delivering a baby.
Wait, my leg!
Yeah, you're right.
Once they got him out and they went to arrest him, he decided to fight us. He wasn't real appreciative that we got him out of this chimney.
What are you doing?
Come on.
What are you doing?
Well, Sam, it's time to go take a slow ride.
I'm not one of the...
The guy must be one of the most inept crooks in the county.
Guys, thanks for getting me out.
Okay.
I don't know if he dieted for this thing or not, but his plan certainly failed.
After spending 2 hours upside down in the chimney, the Santa suspect was subsequently found guilty of burglary and sentenced to 330 days in jail.
This is something I will never forget. Something that could have been very, very scary turned into something funny. It was just the most unbelievable sight you have ever seen.
The police was very kind to him, and everybody in general. They worked to save his life as well to protect us. I do appreciate them very, very much.
For Christmas, I thought we would have a Christmas card made with this guy hanging upside down. And on the inside, I'm going to just say, just drop in any time from the Beavers. Merry Christmas.
When it comes to saving lives, simple things can often make a big difference. Make sure your house or curb is clearly marked with the address number so it is easy for rescuers to read it from the street. This series is dedicated to all the men, women, and children who answer our calls for help and are there when we need them most. I'm William Shatner. Join us again next week for more true stories on Rescue 911.
Mr. Shapiro, step out of the car, please.